Oh, more than so many. Well, if water itself is not fully covered, and water.
And I told Diane, when Diane,
Our water number is.
she goes, I like smoking.
Our water number is 120, and our water expected so we're covering some of the. We always have. So we were about.
Get going, folks. If you look folks in the hall, call them over, let them know we're ready to get going. Hey, how are you? No, that's okay. It's like, nobody didn't leave anything there today. I kept hitting you and you didn't even move, said that. Go ahead and call it to order. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. This is the November 18th meeting of the Talking Rock Creek Board of Directors. For those of you that haven't been to our meetings before, we go pretty much by,
Put that mic closer. Put your mic closer.
we do this pretty much by Robert's Rules of Order. So, can you hear it? Not on. How about that? Oh, yeah, fuck that switches for me.
Operator.
Are you the president?
He's our president. We go by Robert's Rules of Order, so we'll ask that there be no interruptions or questions during the meeting. We're gonna have a question and answer session after the meeting. Anybody that would like to speak needs to sign up over here on the sign-up sheet. And we'll get to you after the meeting. After the meeting is finished today, we've got a meeting of the Neighborhood Watch Group with Diane Matlin, and she has some speakers here that will speak about the Firewise program. And they have food out there, you probably noticed, and everything for that event. So we're gonna try to get the business taken care of here, and then we'll move on, get out of here so that those folks can take care of their business. And I understand there's a ball game of some kind somewhere today that people might wanna get out here and watch too, so we're not gonna be too long. Jackie, could you call the roll?
I have Gary here, I have Dan here, I have Nancy here, I'm here, and Sal had surgery, yesterday. So, Sal is the only one who is not present.
Sal had minor surgery yesterday, he's still just a little bit uncomfortable, so he's not gonna be with us. Jackie, I guess we need to move on to the minutes of the May 20th meeting and the June 17th meeting? Is that
No,
correct?
that's incorrect. You're looking at the wrong form, so hang on. We're going to, I sent out minutes from July 29th. The minutes, you should have read, I'm not sure. Yeah. That was July 29th. So has everyone taken a look at that document? That's the one I just passed you. Okay. Is everybody comfortable? Do you see any edits, changes, anything that needs to be made on that?
No,
Some,
We've all done this in private session, so.
okay, so if you, someone will make a motion to pass the minutes.
I move that we pass the minutes, accept the minutes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion unanimous.
The next one is September 16th. We've already done that. We did that by e-signature, which required a 5-0, and it passed and is already on the website. So I wanted to mention that. So I had Dan seconding. Did the second on here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so July 29th has been passed here and present here in the meeting, and September 16th was done with e-signature. When the new board came on, we had to do bank card changes, so we had to get that done, and we did that through e-signature, and it is online that everybody agreed to the minutes from September 16th. That was the annual meeting.
Okay, we good? All right, let's move on to old business. Jackie, I think you got something first on the nominating committee.
No, you're looking at the minutes.
Open the
Put that away.
folder, yeah, open the, yeah.
Put that away, turn it upside down.
Where are your glasses?
Business. What am I not, what am I not
It's
seeing?
chapel update. You're doing a chapel update.
Okay.
Someone take that over.
About the chapel, we have finally gotten the surveys done. That was an ordeal. That only took about 5 months to find a surveyor and get him to finish up. So that is done. Tim has submitted the documentation to Planning and Zoning in Murray County. They will sign off on it hopefully next week. And after that, we've got to file the plat at the courthouse, and then we'll be ready to set a closing date and get that finished up. It's been a long project, but if anybody's tried to get a surveyor lately, they know probably what we're up against. Okay, is that all under old business? I'm not sure which agenda.
Somebody
Two agendas.
inside the folder.
You do that other way.
So we're ready to move on to new business?
Yes.
Okay. Under new business, Dan Flynn has something.
Okay, take that. What we have is a copy available to everybody. We've come up with a set of, a new policy, set of rules for use of the storage, the RV storage lot only. And it's, everyone can get a copy of it. It's pretty standard stuff. I mean, the reason we did it so that no one can spend the night in the storage lot, no one can store piles of junk in the storage lot. And we're going to put up some trees to block it from view as people are entering the subdivision, but there's nothing really too controversial in here, just vehicles have, anything that's in there has to be in operable condition. And so that's about it. No increases in the fees for the storage lot. It's just strictly to kind of clean up some issues that we've been dealing with.
All right, we have to,
Is there any discussion about this? From any board members? I've seen this discussion among the board. Anybody, I know we've talked about this in private. Is there anything anybody wants to add at this point? Okay. And do I hear a motion to approve the change?
I move to approve.
I second.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Did everybody, did you vote? Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, treasurer's report. Nancy, you're up.
All right, so it is the
time of the 2024 budget, so so here we are. Let me start by talking about how we created this year's budget. So the beginning part of doing the budget is that we looked at, and I have been monitoring closely throughout the year, all of the expenses that it takes to operate the property. So we have, we took fourth quarter 2022 through third quarter 2023 to come up with an average monthly spend that's realistic and actually reflects our actual spend. And I'll talk a little bit about some of the increases that we are anticipating in a minute, but our goal this year, our goal this year is to cover all of the organization's operating expenses. So that's everything from our employees to our road maintenance to all of the ongoing operational expenses, from all of the dues and monies that we can count on, that we know are going to come in. So from the budget, from our income calculations, we looked at the dues, the water fees, the pre-rented storage lots, the things that we know we're going to get that money in. And the reason is that last year, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in a minute, but we spent a lot of our reserve fund. So a lot of that money went out for a variety of reasons, and a variety of reasons that the board has spoken to you about over the past year. So we are at a place where we've cut into our reserves relatively significantly. Our goal is to cover all of our operating expenses out of the dues from this year based on a realistic projection of how much money we're going to get in, and then use all of the money that comes in from collections, all of the money that comes in closing costs, fees, etc., to build back up the reserve fund. So we're highly committed to doing that and getting that back up to a level that we're a little more comfortable with. We have reserved $150,000 in a CD. It's actually growing, but that's the kind of the reserve fund that we have right now, and we'd like it to be larger. We all would like it to be larger. We know that. All right, so that's our goal for the budget, was to know our monthly expenses and then to cover them. So we budgeted in some major increases in expenses. One, the board has agreed that we are going to continue the security patrol because we believe it has had a very positive impact on the community. So the security patrol, in conjunction with the neighborhood watch, has been a winning combination. I think if anybody's been watching, things are a lot quieter in the neighborhood these days. So that increases our budget by about $15,000 over the course of the year, $50,000 over the course of the year. We've also had some major increases in costs. You all know that everything is going up. So the cost of road maintenance, the cost for all of the pieces and parts that go into repairing water problems, all of the equipment repairs, all of the gas money, all of that has increased from in the past. So we've seen significant increases, particularly in road maintenance and water repairs. We also plan to add more staffing. So it's not going to be major adds, but we're going to add a few more few more part-time staff people, so that we will be able to better serve the community and meet the needs, the ongoing day-to-day needs. So we've got all of those increases. We also have budgeted, because we cannot go another year without this, and that is that we have an official audit. So we budgeted in enough money to do a pre-audit review and then an audit during the course of this year. So that way we will make sure. We've worked very hard over the course of this year to get the books in line with reality, and we're pretty comfortable with where we're at. We've got some changes coming for next year that I think will even make things better, but we will have an audit. So that's been budgeted, and it is, unfortunately, like everything in this world, it is not cheap. So that adds about another $35,000 to the budget to do that audit and the pre-audit review. So we've had some increases. We also spent a lot of money on legal advice, and we're hoping to reduce that, but you never know what's gonna come up. And so we put in enough money to make sure that we cover any legal opinions that we need to collect. So if somebody comes with a question and we need to get a legal review, we have our legal team available to do that. On the upside, we have had some decreases. One really good piece of news is that the water costs have come down. So our water costs were running about average of $12,000 a month, and they're down to about, am I getting this number, $9,000 a month? About $9,000 a month. So we've come down. We caught some major unseen leaks during the course of this year. So we're looking, so our water costs for the last 3 months, knock on everything, have really reduced. So we've been able to reduce the cost of purchasing water, although the cost of fixing problems with the water system has not decreased, it's actually increased. So it's kind of a wash, but it's still good news, I think. It's good news, yeah. It's a wash, yeah, okay. The other good news, so on the other good news is that the percent of people paying dues has increased this year. It's because of the way we've been doing tax sales and changed ownership and brought in new owners. Our percentage, we've been able to increase the percentage of people that are actually paying dues. So we're pretty optimistic about that, and we believe it can only get better as we continue to aggressively pursue collections, which, as we've done this year. It's gonna take a couple of years, maybe even more, to see the fruit of our collection process, but we are seeing some results, and I'll be talking about that a little bit more in a minute. All right, so unfortunately, that brings me to the, don't shoot the messenger, but here's the deal. So dues will be increasing from the $695 they were this year to $750. So I know that's an 8% increase. It is the lowest increase we could calculate that would cover our costs adequately. So we are increasing to $750, and we're doing an 8% increase pretty much across the board. So water goes up, water increases from, from 535, increases to $535 from, I think it was $495, so that's increasing as well. And we're increasing everything, so installation will be increasing that. We're gonna increase all of the fees that we're charging for just about everything by 8%. In order to make sure that we cover operating costs, number one, and that we can take advantage of the money that comes in from collections and other sources to build back our reserve fund so that we have a pretty good cushion in case of an emergency or in case something comes up that we need to cover. And there are some capital expenses looking us in the face, like we really need to buy a new water tank to cover our growing community. So, and that's about $200,000. So we've got that. We hope to buy maintenance equipment that will allow us to do a lot self-serve, do our own road maintenance over the course of the few years, and that's another $100,000. So we've got some things that we would like, that we really think will help make things better, but we gotta build up the reserves in order to do that. Anyway, so that's that, bad news. Okay, no questions now. We'll take questions after, but we will answer them, okay, it's the best of our ability, okay. Okay, all right. Invoices. So a little bit of a change this year on, first off, we are eliminating the convenience fee. So those of you who didn't like paying the convenience fee for credit card usage, that's gone. We're not gonna do that this year. Just managing it was a nightmare, and we're not gonna do that. What we've tried to do is really simplify things. So you will see on one of the pages of this document, our current invoicing plan. So what we've done is we've provided an annual plan, so you can pay annually. We've provided a quarterly plan, so there's a set amount that you would pay if you're gonna be on the quarterly plan. So there's a set amount for that. and then there is a set amount for a monthly plan. What we would ask is that you decide at the very beginning of the year what plan you're gonna be on, and that you then stick to it for the course of this year. The reason being that, I've been going through the books very, very, very closely, and when you have people paying $52.75 and other people paying, 75 and a quarter, it's like, it is impossible to track exactly how that is, and to keep track and understand where people are at. So we're asking that everybody decide on a plan in December or January, if they're not due until the end of January, decide which plan you're gonna be on, and then follow it for the year. We'd also like to request, although I'll take comment on it because it's not set yet, we'd like to request that you send in 2 separate payments, one for POA and one for water. Again, it's just a matter of simplifying the tracking and managing of those invoices, so we know exactly what's being paid, who's paying it, and for what. So we'd like you to do that, although I'm open to some, I usually combine them and send one check, but, so I'm open to discussion on that, but minimally, decide on a plan, annual, monthly, or quarterly, manual, quarterly, or monthly. Quarterly and monthly to have a little bit of a surcharge on them, so if you pay quarterly, you'll pay a little bit more than the total that you would pay annually, and if you pay monthly, it's a little bit more than you'll pay if you pay quarterly. So just because of the cost of managing and working with those different sums. So that is our new invoicing plan and our request to y'all, okay? All right, final point, and then I'll be done with talking about the budget. And the final point is that if you, there is a page in your budget, and I don't have page numbers on these, I should have put them on, but in terms of our current funds position. So I indicated that we are down, and if you look at it, at the bottom line is that we began the year with $757,000 in the bank, and we ended the year with $317,685.61, which means that we're down substantially. One reason for that is because of the increasing costs and the cost of operating the organization, but the second one is that we have pursued collections vigorously, and it's paying off. So if you look at that page, you'll see that we're $440,000 down from the beginning of the year. But if you look at the chart on collections, you can see that we actually have approximately $1,310,000 that we know are going to come back to us. So some of those are because of are from the tax sales. So $180 we know is coming back to us, so you can reduce that 440 to 240 down, because we know that money is coming in. We've acquired tax lots to sale, and we expect that those are going to come in. And we've also had some pretty good success with our legal teams. In fact, last week, that it's not reflected here, we got in another, what was it, $12,000 in from one collection from Nowak Howard. So we are seeing the payoff, and we're expecting a minimum of $1,300,000 to come in the foreseeable future. This is not pipe dream stuff. This is I don't believe in pipe dream stuff. So this is not pipe dream stuff. This is real money that we really expect to accrue over the course of the next year and a half. Because one of the things, some of the lots that we bought in the sale, we can't even begin marketing them until a year after. So we've got another year before we can even start marketing those, and those aren't included in this calculation. So we are optimistic, but the board is highly committed to operating within this budget, building up the fund, rebuilding that reserve fund from all the money that comes in beyond the dues collection, and increasing the percent of owners that are actually paying their dues. And that is the last thing I have to say in this budget. One small clarification.
Is there any additional discussion among the board about the budget?
I need to make one small clarification. On the convenience fee, it will not be charged on the regular, current year dues or the water. But, past due stuff that somebody wants to pay with a credit card, or the little small things, that we, other little small pieces of income that we have, we will pass along that, 3.25%. But on the main stuff, it won't be there.
Thank you, good clarification, thank you. Okay.
Is there any further discussion among the board about the budget?
No, I make a motion that we approve the budget.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Sam seconds, the vote? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? So the budget for 2024 is approved. Next up is the property manager's report from Tim.
Not as well. Go ahead. His one's more powerful.
All right, well, we all have already figured out that there's quite a bit that's been going on, and really appreciate all the time and effort that the board members have been spending. I'd like to make a quick introduction of our new bookkeeper, Ann Gillian is here, and she's brought a wealth of knowledge about QuickBooks and even some very specific to HOAs. Her sister, several years ago, set up a HOA management company down in Florida, and she helped set up all the bookkeeping for that. So that required, just really understanding how the whole process works. So we have a wealth of knowledge there, and we're really grateful to have her. So I've got several things I'd like to go over, just some of it's the kind of update on where we are with some of the ongoing issues. As you all know, we've had some major headaches with the gates during this year, and it looks like we're getting into the smoother part of just past the rapids, and we're into the smoother part of the stream now. Tammy has finished going through an intensive audit of all the data that we have in the system, and taken out the errors and deleted the old stuff that shouldn't have been there and that sort of thing. And so at this point, the only way we can find out if there are still some issues is if people let us know, okay, my fob stopped working or whatever it is. So that'll be the only way we can find it from here, because everything that's there that we could see was a mistake we've fixed. So if you'll help get the word out on that people need to let us know if there's an issue. Also, the equipment itself that we replaced during the year, we've had fairly good success on having fewer issues, but there are still some glitches that we're working out. And we also will be continuing the work to put more cameras at the gates for the purposes of finding people that decide to do the wrong thing and open the gate with their car, something like that. So we're making progress in that as well. Our roads, we have come up with a little bit better method on repairing some of the worst spots in the roads, and I know there's still a lot to do, but the guys have been taking extra time to cut out very damaged areas and replace it and pack it well and that sort of thing. We did quite a bit on Marie Drive that greatly improved it from what used to be a very teeth-jarring experience to drive down through there to where it's not quite so bad. So we're making progress there. You'll notice at the front entrance there's quite a few large patches that are now nice and smooth that used to be potholes. So, and the technique they're using is going to make it last a lot longer than some of the previous ways we've been doing that. And we are looking at, as Nancy mentioned, option of getting some of our own actual hot paving equipment, so that some roads that need paving, especially there are several of the cul-de-sacs that have a steep area, Robert can testify, have a steep area that there's no way to keep the water from washing it out pretty much every time there's a significant rain. There's no option other than the road water to run down the road. So the only real way to fix those areas is paving them, and we are hoping to be able to do that in this coming year. So that will improve those spots that we have to spend a lot of time repairing several times a year because they just, can't stay the way they need to be. So we're looking forward to being able to do that sort of thing. The water system, we did have it about every 3 or 4 years. It has to be inspected in a significant way where they used to put actual divers inside the tanks with cameras and go around looking, but now they have these robot things that they can put in there that are kind of like a drone that flies down amongst the water and all the fittings and everything and check it out. And there are a few minor things we need to do to make sure everything is maintained, but we got a good clean bill of health on that, so I'm grateful for that. And then, like Nancy mentioned, there was at least one very significant hidden leak that we didn't know about until finally it got large enough to where it was visible to at least one person who reported it. And so we got that, and we've seen our water use go down significantly from that. So again, ask the community to be very vigilant. If you see water where you really shouldn't be water, especially along the roads, let us know about it, because that generally means that something's leaking. All right, we have already prepped our amenities for the winter, so hopefully things will be winterized, and we want to encourage everyone in your own homes here within the community to do the same and make sure you've got, especially your pipes where they're not going to risk getting frozen, and there we go with a water leak, right? If something bursts right outside your house and you not happen to be there for a while, a lot of water is going to go out. So preparing for the winter, of course, it's something we have to do every year, but just a reminder. And let's see, I was going to talk about the fact that, and many of you know this, but the sales of properties inside our gates is just, I think it's kind of unprecedented, other than, of course, probably the first year or two of the existence of the place. But Tammy's having to answer requests from closing attorneys every week, usually more than one every week, for property that's changing hands. And that's a great thing, because along with that, some of the lots that are being sold that may have some past due stuff gets caught up then at that sale. So we brought in quite a few $1,000s just because of that. So that's a great thing. It also means that a lot of those folks coming in are interested in getting started building their dream house in the mountains, and so we've got quite a few, as Claude can testify, a lot of ARC requests for new builds, and looking at, currently there's at least 15 that are ongoing. Some of them are almost done, and some of them are just getting started, but various stages, and there's a lot more requests coming based on what people are telling me when they call me up and ask me about, I'm looking at lot so-and-so, and we're thinking about building such and such, and of course I just refer them to the ARC and the other things they need to do if they're really going to go there. But it just seems like the interest in Talking Rock Creek is just amazing, and so that's great, because it helps all of our property values. It also helps to get in folks that are motivated to have nice property, and therefore contribute as they should in terms of dues and all of that. So it just increases the progress of what we're doing here. So we're really, really grateful for that. One thing tied to that is if you have any influence on anybody that is new, you find them or just talking to them, and I'll make sure that Mike mentioned that before they do anything on their lots, it's all spelled out in the paperwork, but people sometimes don't read it, that there actually are some requests they need to make to the ARC about getting permission to do what they want to do. We try not to hinder anybody from building what they want to build, but there are certain strictures and certain guidelines we need to make sure we enforce, and just there's a process to go through so that everybody can end up benefiting. Something we are contemplating, the board's been discussing, and I think we'll be able to implement, is the idea that with our maintenance crew and the equipment we have and the skills that many of them have, that we could probably be offering some limited amount of services to members of TRCRA. Specifically, if gravel is needed, we obviously buy a lot of gravel, and we have a dump truck, so if somebody needs some on their property, they could buy it from us and we could deliver it, and probably be a little less than what the normal market would be, but the convenience of it is also there. So it's a way for us to possibly make a little extra money. We wouldn't, try to have exorbitant pricing on anything like that. We would want it to be a win-win situation in every case. We have a new piece of equipment that we've been using to prep some of the lots that we have acquired and are selling. Some of you may have noticed some of those where all of a sudden most of the small brush and everything is cleared away, and for at least for some distance down into the lot, there's just a few large trees left, and it makes it where you can see the views, and you can tell kind of what you've got there, and it makes it easier to sell. And we could offer that same service to members when they're preparing, wanting to sell their property. We could, for a yet to be determined fee, could do the same sort of thing. And things like that. And we'd be open to ideas also from the members, if there's something like that we could possibly use as a way to, again, to get in a little more money and to provide a service that would be beneficial to the members, then it would be great. I prepared a one-page document there that's available for all of you about the collections and what we've been doing over this past year especially, to make quite a bit of progress. And as Nancy kind of already gave you a general idea that we've put things in motion to where there's a significant amount of money that we can reasonably expect over the next year and a half. And that's just because a lot of people are putting a lot of effort into it, and so I'm grateful for that. The first two parts, they're kind of something that's been going on for a while. It's just that with the market down the way it was for so many years, it was a little more difficult to get people interested in actually hanging onto their property. And then, of course, the HOA didn't necessarily want to end up with property that was difficult to sell and just be on their hands. So it made it harder to get monies in, but now that the market has come up so significantly over the last couple of years, then people don't want to lose their property. We're getting folks that sometimes owe maybe $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to us that want to pay it so that they can sell their property because they can see that they can at least walk away with a few $1,000s maybe. So that's a great benefit, and it's a way to motivate folks as well. So we've been trying to capitalize on that by, one is having some of our in-house staff make the initial efforts for up to maybe the first year that someone gets behind, and try to get them to go ahead and catch that up, and that costs us much less if we just do it in-house in terms of our costs for that. If after that amount of time, though, we're not getting any response, then we have to turn it over to our collections attorneys, and they're able to use all the laws, everything that the state laws will allow in terms of demand letters and ways. And then, of course, ultimately, if people don't respond, you file a lawsuit and receive a judgment. And almost every time, the judge is going to declare in favor of the HOA. And it's just because when people buy property, they've got the document right there that says, yes, I'm agreeing that I'm part of this community and I owe the dues and the assessments that are being levied every year. So there's no magic to it. It's just that it can be enforced. Then the trick is how to actually get the money once you have a judgment. And again, the market helps us with that, in that once we have a judgment, if a property is to be sold, then we control what happens with those funds up to the amount that's owed to us anyway. Recently, because of a judgment against an entity that owned several pieces of property, they sold a lot for $14,000, and out of that we got almost $13,000 because the judgment we had against that, and out of that just one lot. And we've got some other situations like that. And Nancy's got in the chart there, the last item that estimates about $500,000. That's an entity that owns more lots than any other in here, and we do have a large judgment against that company. And they currently have every one of their lots for sale. And they did just actually sell one week before last, the first of those. And so the potential of getting that judgment paid off is very real. It's being marketed, those lots are being marketed to builders and others that might buy multiples of lots, and so that would bring in large chunks of money, because every bit of every one of those sales we control, we get to take all of it essentially until the whole judgment is paid. So, so that's potential for having our reserve account to come up very significantly. So we're grateful for that. And then, of course, we did implement, and most of you are aware of the tax sale strategy that we came up with about a year ago, and we're able to start implementing it in June and July, where several hundred lots that have been very delinquent for a long time also weren't paying their taxes. And so the tax commissioners, of course, a little along, they would put a few of our lots in tax sales, and they'd be auctioned off to the highest bidder. And in many cases, there was just one bid, and so the taxes got paid, but there's nothing else left over for any other lien holder, which is almost always just the HOA. So we decided to try a little different tack, and interested a lot of people. There were over 100 that actually requested the information of what we were going to do. And that is to have a second bid at least on each property, and that is one where the HOA was going to add on an amount that would approximate the lien that we have against that property. And so rather than buying a piece of property for the minimum bid, it was usually several times more than that, but still a great deal in terms of what the current market is. You can get a $15,000 lot for maybe $4,000 or $5,000 in a tax sale, then it's still a good deal. But everything above that minimum bid, the HOA gets to claim it as a lien holder, or up to the amount that's owed to us anyway on that lot. And so that's where that $180,000 figure comes in, because that's already been submitted for a claim, and so we're just waiting on the counties, mostly Gordon. There's a smaller amount that's coming from Gilmer, and but we have a lot more of those lots that we can do in Gordon County, and we will as the opportunities come up for the tax sales. Typically, each county only has 2 tax sales a year, so I'm working with the commissioners. And well, Gilmer we did. I mean, there weren't that many, and all of them went in that first tax sale. The ones that could fit that category, but we still have over 200 that we can do in Gordon County as the opportunities come up. And okay, I think I could probably just kind of cut it off there. There's a couple other topics that there are some handouts about there. One of them has to do with the system association that's only 3 lots, that's called Carter's Overlook 2. It's mostly on, if you turn on Cali, just the second road to the right down here. Those lots back in there, it's actually a separate association that we're considering having a merger. We're getting the lawyers to kind of look at that right now, and the owners of that association are also would like to see that happen. So it's something we're discussing. There's a schematic there that kind of shows what it is, and kind of give you an idea, but that's something we'll be discussing in upcoming meetings. Thanks.
Thank you, Tim. On the Carter's Overlook thing, I just wanted to clarify. We're going through that now and talking to the attorneys about it, but it's an opportunity to get Carter's Overlook 2. People who don't know anything about that, that was a separate association that was set up within Talking Rock Creek. But we have an opportunity to bring that into the community with all its revenue. But there will be some legal wrangling, and ultimately it's going to require a vote by the majority of our members to do it. So we're in the early stages of it, but if you hear us talking about Carter's Overlook 2, that's what we're looking at. If they want to join us, we want to join them. We just got to get all the I's dotted, T's crossed, and figure out how we can get a vote in front of all the membership that would make it happen. I believe Jackie has some comments.
Yeah. We're moving to announcements. First, I need to apologize for any misspellings, mistakes on the agenda today. It was pointed out to me by our wonderful president in several emails every time he noticed something, and finally I wrote back and said, you really know how to kick a woman when she's down, so. Just kidding. He knows I'm teasing. All right, so, hush. Announcements. We had a wonderful chili cook-off, and Tony Baker won the chili cook-off and now has that trophy. The only other announcement I have is we're having our annual Christmas party on the 16th of December. Oh, which reminds me, he did not catch that the agenda at one point said December 18th, so I caught that.
I'm sorry, when was it? What? I missed the date.
The Christmas party is December 16th.
Oh, thank you.
16th, 1/6.
Separate announcement.
Yes, it'll be in the newsletter. If you've not signed up for the newsletter, please do so. We have some really great pieces in there and pictures we steal from the members with their permission. So talk with Nancy about signing up for that newsletter. And that's all I have.
Just a reminder of the Firewise program afterwards, Diane Matten is conducting, so we hope you all hang around. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
And lunch.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned.
Question.
Yeah, this is the comment section for those folks who signed up. If you haven't signed up, you still can. Mary Candy.
If you haven't signed up for the craft this month, this is what we're making, macrame Christmas trees. Offering it on 2 days, November the 27th, a week from Monday, here at 10 o'clock, or on the following Saturday, December 2nd.
Nancy February.
I have 3 questions. I'll try and make
Nancy, do you wanna come up and use
Come on,
the
take the
mic?
microphone.
This way we'll get it recorded on the recording Jackie's making for you too.
said I have 3 questions and I'll try to make them quick and short. One is the bank recs. Bank recs are normally done by someone other than the AP person, and I just want to make sure that that's being done.
I'm doing it.
Okay, that's that. The chapel, when we bought the chapel, I see the reserves went down. What was used for the reserves? Why did that go down?
The pool.
Cool.
Okay,
That's it, big piece of equipment. There's actually 4 things that came out of reserves. So the pool, a new piece of equipment that was expensive, and the chapel, which is actually not paid out yet.
but the
We
chapel.
also
Okay.
invested a good amount of money into collection. So we did not budget, so the operational budget did not include the collections activity because our goal was to make them at least minimally break even. They did not break even this year, but we will absolutely see a gain next year.
The chapel, I don't believe is a reserve, can be used under, it can be?
Yes, you can.
Okay, because I thought okay,
Capital expenditures, yes.
okay. The third thing is the budget. I'm glad we're doing a budget for 2023, but have we thought about, an audit, have we thought about doing an audit for prior years? Because I know when I took over and we switched from one accounting system to the new accounting system, there was a huge chunk of money that the assets and the liabilities didn't equal. And we think we knew why, but we weren't sure, and me being in the office, I knew why, but we just didn't have the information from the old system for me to prove that. So I think we need an audit, because it's a big chunk of money. And it was on the balance sheet as a separate item, as a negative item in equity. It said, AR, difference in changeover, something like that. And it was $1.7 million. And this year, I got the balance sheet, and it's all, because it's a new year, it's all rolled into equity, which we really have to find out what that is. I think I know what it is.
We will be working closely with the auditing company. We're going to do a pre-review, and then we will take their advice in terms of completing the audit. So, in case any of you have noticed this year, getting service people is not always easy. We've been working very hard to find a new accounting company. We were working with a single accountant, and we determined that that was not meeting our full need. So we are working to get Warren Averett, who is our accountant, to work with us on finalizing that and
I
making
just
sure
want,
that, correct.
I
yeah.
want them to look at the equity, because that was rolled in, and that's a
Well,
major
and
problem.
we actually, Warren Averett indicated in our discussions that this has been an ongoing forever. So they have audited our books for previous years. We haven't done one for about 5 years now, but previous years they've done it, and the problem with our accounts receivable has been a sore thumb, and we intend to get that corrected this year, as well as making sure that all of our assets are lined up correctly.
The reason,
So all I can say is that, yes, we
Okay.
understand there's a
And
problem.
I'm sorry, Nancy, but we've got a 3-minute limit.
okay,
That cover
I'll
most
bring
of
it
what
up
you need to
again
know?
next month then, because we really need an answer. It's
Angela, why?
$1.7 million. And next month I'll start with what I think it
I'm
is.
sorry, Nancy, for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Angela, would you like to use the microphone? Please do, because we're recording this.
in front of a lot of
It
people.
needs to be on the record.
We just want the viewers to be able to hear you who are online.
Okay, so I bought 7 properties, and I was told before I got the properties that I could build a manufactured home. And I had 3 years of planning, and I paid for all my permits, I paid for everything. And my dream home was shot down, because he said that he, thinks I couldn't build my home there, so.
Okay.
I'm pretty upset about that, and I wanna know why. I own the property, I had everything ready, and I wanna build my home.
In our, rules, you'll
But
find,
there is over 12 other homes that are manufactured and yep,
we can't.
and I could build a brand new with a
Be glad to answer you when
foundation.
you're ready.
I mean, I had the foundation, I mean, I was gonna clear everything, that was my dream home, and I paid for everything. So,
You ready for an answer?
yeah,
Okay. In our architectural review committee has the discretion to approve or deny any construction. And we are making a conscious effort to move away from modular construction in most cases. But in the end, it comes down to the ARC being able to decide that. In your particular case, your home would have come in on wheels in 2 sections, and it would have required cutting a lot of trees that would not normally have to be cut. And it's a very
but
difficult
if I don't
lot.
want them trees there, why,
You
it's
know,
my
and I'm
property.
sorry, I know that's your dream, but the ARC made a decision, and based on what we saw, we did not think the home would be an
So for
asset to the
3 years
community.
in planning, why couldn't somebody say, this is not gonna happen, I would have never bought the property?
We've had the same rules on the books for, this rule is
The
not
rule
something that
says
this
over
board created,
1100.
Angela, this rule has been on the books forever.
But it says over 1,100 square foot, and it was gonna be 2,000 square foot, or 1,500 or 1,700 square
The
foot.
style of the home was
Well
not,
over.
the ARC did not feel the style of home would be beneficial to the
So
community.
how come they didn't tell me that? How come I was told I
We
could
did
build
tell you
for
that.
3 years?
We did tell you
For
that.
3 years, they
I
said I
met
could
with
build.
you, I looked at the lot, and I rendered a decision, I was the ARC committee at that point. And I'm sorry, but, you know, we have decisions to make, and that was one that was made, and again, it's at the discretion of the ARC. It doesn't matter what's already here, it doesn't matter what you want or what I want, the ARC committee
But
can look at it and
when I
say,
was
that's not
told
a.
that I could build a manufactured home before I bought these properties,
Who told you
I
that?
did not tell you that.
Who told
that would be Tammy and Tim.
And how many years ago?
Well, actually, 1 year ago, when I had the permit, the day I got the permit to put the well in the septic and
Talking
get the
about
lights
permits from
clear,
Gordon County.
that same day that you finally came out, or that you came out,
Okay, we will need to sit and have a meeting with you,
that's what I've been asking.
and we have had,
But it's my property,
we'll bring
and I was told I.
your minutes, your 3 minutes are up. We need to plan a meeting with Tammy, Tim, the board, and you, and the ARC.
Yeah, cause I've lost thousands of dollars for not being able to build my home.
We'll discuss this in a meeting. This is a private matter.
Is there an appeal process for the ARC?
Lori or Larry Alexander?
Wow. Wow. It's a Lori, but that's okay. For you, I'll be a Larry.
So, okay, I really have one question, but now I have two. So the
You
first
have
question.
3 minutes either
Yes,
way.
you can put it. The first question, what do we want the reserve fund to do?
As
What
much as-
dollar
As
amount?
much as it possibly can be. The mechanism is that anything, any extra revenue that we have that's not assigned to the budget someplace else will go to the reserve fund.
Okay.
We wanna build it up over time.
Okay, but we don't have like a, hey, we gotta get it up to this value.
I'd love it to be $10 million.
Generally 12 to 15%, we've always said.
Okay,
We've been over that, and, you know, you have to look at the assets that we have as well.
yeah, okay,
And we take donations.
You got 3 minutes.
I heard that one, and then I have another question. ARC, we would like to do a concrete driveway, and I haven't put the request on the website yet, but I need to. Do I need to get approval before I actually hire somebody?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so if I put that request
Please
in,
do.
and I want it to be somewhat expedited, what do I need to do?
Just put it in.
Just ask
Put it
for
on the
T.
site and I'll mention it to Claude, I'm sure he'll expedite it.
Claude,
Claude Collier,
okay, bring cookies.
he is the chief ARC guy.
Oh, beautiful, hi, and thank you. Okay, done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you, I appreciate it.
Fine.
Anybody else that has not signed up?
I get you back.
Yep. We're done, stick around for the meeting, please.
Thank you.